Okay, good morning everyone. Thank you for being here. As you're all aware, at 1 a.m. this morning, the border restrictions eased in terms of coming into Queensland. So those 5 additional local government areas in New South Wales and also the entirety of Queensland opened up to be able to go across to and from the border for any reason. At 12:30 this morning we saw a number of people lined up, particularly at the M1, waiting for that 1 a.m. deadline. So we did see some heavy traffic coming through really early. And that's continued throughout the morning. At the moment, the speed of traffic is fairly low, so it's a bit lower than usual. We saw peak delays this morning of up to 30 minutes, which we did anticipate, given that we now have such a larger group of people who are able to come into Queensland, provided they're eligible. Unfortunately, there have been some IT issues with the system, and that relates to some suburbs that haven't been recognised within the system. The relevant government departments at the moment are working on that really hard to get that issue addressed. We do have a workaround, however. Anyone who goes online and is unable to access a border pass, we ask them to still come to the vehicle checkpoint, bring your identification which proves who you are and where you live. We'll work with you on the side of the road, and if you're eligible, we'll get you through. Really importantly, people who reside in the border zone area in New South Wales, you must declare that you haven't been to a hotspot in the previous 14 days. And that would mean if you drove from Sydney yesterday into Byron Bay, where you normally live, you would not qualify at the moment because you've been outside the border zone into that hotspot in the previous 14 days. So we'll continue to work with the community. I thank them for their patience. I'd ask them to plan their journeys accordingly. Think about your individual circumstances. People travelling with young children, please think about that. Get your border pass in order. Please display it on your windscreen if you can. If we can save a few seconds per vehicle, across the system we'll save hours every day, and it'll get you through a lot quicker. And above everything else, please pack your patience, because over the coming days, we've seen this each time we've changed the border directions, there will be some delays. I'm happy to take any questions.
What's driver behaviour been like?
Driver behaviour's been very good. Look, I think the community's fairly used to these changes. This is our 15th iteration of the border pass system, which means sometimes the rules change slightly. There's nuances with them. This is a fairly significant change, but it's a fantastic change because it means everyone in Queensland can visit interstate into that area, into the border zone area, and all of those people in the border zone area in New South Wales are able to go anywhere in Queensland. So I think everyone's pretty happy about it.
Okay, so your officers are being treated okay by the drivers?
Yeah, and that's really been the case the whole time. We've been here now since the 26th of March this year, so over 6 months. And some of the people we see them every day because we understand their lives are enmeshed across the border. People travel to and from Queensland and New South Wales because they live, work, they go to schools, they go to doctors, medical appointments and other things. So we see the same people regularly, and I think they're appreciative of what we're doing.
How's it been since the ADF was at your south?
Yeah, the ADF operations finished last night just before midnight, and firstly I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the ADF. They've been incredibly professional. It's been fantastic working with them. They've been a real asset, and one of the legacies we get out of this are the relationships we form with them and also the interoperability we have for future operations. So we did some planning around this, and we were able to work out the resourcing we would need to make these border checkpoints efficient, and we got the numbers that we needed from outside of our district.
Numbers on how many people have been through so far this morning since 1 a.m. turned around and checked in?
No, we did a quick check at 6 a.m. this morning, and from between 1 a.m. and 6 a.m. We processed several hundred vehicles in that period, and we turned around in the order of 30 people.